Okay, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. This is January the 26th. All right. We started a little late tonight. I just had trouble getting in. Before we start, I'd like to give you guys time if you had anything that happened this week, or if you have any questions to start with to kind of break the ice for others, that would be great.
Anybody got a question or something you want to tell us?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, let's the first person that said I do, go ahead and start.
Okay, as far as filling out a W-4, how are we to fill out the 2021 W-4 for your job without them taking out taxes?
Okay. Wow. You said you're 03, or you mean 2021?
2021.
Okay, you do exempt.
Okay. They don't have a space anymore for exempt.
Well, that's because we're tearing them up. Well,
yeah,
what you're going to have to do, if they don't have an exempt, I don't use one. So put in there that you're married and have 9 children or something. Now, it's going to, unfortunately, we have a sinister, a wicked system. So to pay the very least you can pay so you can get your money back each week, go with married and 9. They'll let you do married and 10, that's even better. Then what they'll do is only take a couple of $100. Otherwise, they'll take $600 or $700 out. So, you just have to do the best you can. We're having a lot of trouble with the W-4 because there is now, I'm not real good with these, but find somebody who you can do a W-8 BEN, and that will make you exempt with the company. So try doing a W-8 BEN for somebody that knows how to do those. I just never have done them, so I'm not too good with those. But there is somebody, I'm sure, that will be more than glad to call Ed, tell him that he knows how to do them, and then we'll get the information for you filled out and get it to you somehow.
Okay.
Did that help you? To say that one more time.
Yes.
Back in 97. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, yeah. The guy that was talking, he was starting.
Anyway,
okay.
My last 2 years I worked for.
TV on.
Well, it ain't at my house. I got it off. I'm in a room by myself, so it's not me.
Yeah, I don't know what. Let's see. Anyway, we were just learning how to do computers on the company I work for, and so we was going to fill out the W-4 on our computer, and I found a little place on it that said exempt. So I just clicked on it and sent it in. So all that year I have no taxes taken out of my check.
Right.
And then all of a sudden in January of the next year, I got a check and they took taxes out.
Right.
So I found out that I had to.
You have to do it every year.
Do it every year. So I went back in, checked that thing, sent it off, and the rest of that year I didn't have taxes taken out.
Right. But now the W-4, if some companies make you do them. So rather than losing your job, just do it. Don't worry about it. See, it's not about you. So if they can't do it, we can help you on the other side. So do a W-4, do an exempt. If they don't have an exempt line, then do a W-8. Yeah. But I'll look at a W-4 tomorrow, and I'll print it out. I'll get it filled out proper, and I'll get it sent to Ed, and then after tomorrow we'll have something we can send you. If it's doable, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out in the morning.
Did you get the email I just sent you about?
Yes, I was going to ask you. Would you expound on that for a minute?
You open that email up, and it shows where the United States Corporation filed Chapter 11 in 2020. And
yeah.
That means there is no IRS to worry about.
So,
and it's all on that. If any of y'all want to see that, send me an email, and I'll send it to you.
Yep. On there it explains it. It's really, really good. So, if you're not, if you're
got the court case and everything on there.
Right. So if you're not exempt W-4, become one quickly, because if the IRS goes out of business, and it looks like they're going to, you're going to end up losing your money because they're going to take it and you won't get it back.
Yeah, it'll be gone.
Maybe.
Thank
I
you
think
so
a
much.
fellow from Atlanta was trying to talk a while ago.
Okay, use the W-4 for year 2020. I just got a text from a guy who's pretty sharp on this stuff. So get a 2020 W-4 and fill it out. Maybe handwrite one on it. Make it 2021 and handwrite it, because the 2021s might not be out yet. But you got to have them out, because if you don't, they're gonna divert you back. So get a 2020, fill it out, and make it say 2021. Sign it, send it in. That would be the best way to do it. Okay, guy from Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. He's on the he's muted right now.
Okay. The guy from Atlanta. Are you there? Okay.
Next.
Yeah. Okay, while you're coming on, this week I've had a lot of people that are going back to the tax court. And the reason for it is the tax court has saved their bacon. Now, it's getting pretty ugly, but when you go to the tax court, you're going to get a court order that basically the commissioner says they didn't have jurisdiction because they violated Title 26. Now, we're hitting them so hard with it that what they're doing is they're coming back, and the IRS is actually saying they gave us one. The problem is they didn't. And the reason they didn't, because it's a particular thing. If you know what it is, and you see one, you'll know it's not one. See, that's like saying I drive a Subaru and I pull up in a Chevrolet. They're both automobiles, they're both blue, they both got 4 tires on them, but they're not the same. So if you want to know what a statutory notice of deficiency or a statutory notice of determination is, if you get a hold of Ed, he'll get a hold of me, or he knows, he'll send it to you what they are, so that when they say they gave you one, you can defend it. Because, see, if you don't know what it is, how do you know you did or didn't get one? Okay, does anybody else have a question? Because we're going to get started on I'm going to start just doing my thing until somebody has a question.
Hello, Kerry. This is Bruce.
Yes?
Go ahead.
Yeah. There is also a W-4V that you can file for withholding and claimed exemption.
There you go. We got a man there that knows that. See, it's a W-4V than Victor.
Yep. And if you want to get a copy of it, it's out on the American States Assembly .org website.
Okay, and for those of you
I'm sorry,
that can't remember that.
It's .net. It's .net.
Yeah. Okay, if you can't remember that, do a playback and you'll get it. Bruce, I'm going to ask you a question if I can.
Yeah.
Do you file the 1040?
No.
Why?
Well, because I can't.
I don't care if you... Okay, you can't, really? So if I laid one in front of you and gave you a pen, you couldn't fill it out?
Well, yeah, I could, but it's illegal to fill out.
Well, wait a minute. Stop right there. Stop right there. See, all I'm doing is I'm trying to get you prepared. See, you said you can't, okay? Do you have broken fingers? See, okay? Do you file a 1040? You said no. Why?
No.
Okay, why?
Because in the instructions it says I can't, or it's illegal.
No.
It says it's illegal.
See how simple this is? It's not about you anymore, is it? See how you can defend it. It doesn't matter what you say as long as you can defend it. Doesn't that make sense?
Yep.
See, we have to be prepared for that kind of stuff. For those of you that are interested in it, you know that I use a glossary page. Okay? Now, I found the Internal Revenue Service's glossary page. I found their glossary page that they use in court. So if you're interested in it, let me know, and I'll get you the glossary page that the IRS is using. Now, the reason we're having so much trouble because the language that they use is a foreign language to everybody. Okay?
I'm interested in it.
So?
No, I'm interested.
Are you in front of a computer?
Yeah.
Well, then do you want to look it up and you want to read it?
Yes.
Okay, give me a second. And just give me a second. I'll call you back, and then you come on there, and I'm going to let you read the Internal Revenue Service's glossary page. Then you'll understand why what's happening is they're talking to us, they're saying one thing, but their glossary page says something different. Now, the guy that said he was interested, can you look something up for me?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to go to Title I, Section 1, and we're going to read it. I'm going to let you read it so you understand what we're dealing with and how difficult this becomes. So when you get that looked up, let me know you have it, and I'm going to let you read parts of it. And as you read it, we're going to stop along the way, and you're going to explain to them what it says so that you can see the glossary page that the IRS is using. Did you find it?
I found it. Title 1 USC, U.S. Code, Section 1.
Okay, now read just the first line and then stop. And we're going to go through this so you understand what's happening.
In determining the meaning of any act of Congress, unless the context indicates otherwise.
Now stop right there. In any act of Congress, unless the
context
statute indicates otherwise. Now, who wrote Title 26?
Congress.
Okay, Congress wrote it. So, unless they tell you otherwise, Congress wrote it. Let's read number 2. Let's read line number 2.
Words importing the singular include and apply to several persons
or things. So, I'm going to ask the question. I want somebody to answer it if they will. What does singular mean? Can somebody help me with this?
Singular means one.
Read it again.
Words importing the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things.
Okay. Now, I don't want him to answer. I want somebody else to answer it. What does singular mean?
Any and all things.
Nope, not mean any and all things. No. So, I want to know what singular means.
But singular applies to several persons.
Okay, so singular means more than one. Yet, when we're talking, singular means one. So the Internal Revenue Service, when they tell you, you have to fill out a singular whatever. You have to do a singular act. See, you're in court and you're getting indicted. All of a sudden, what will happen is, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's read the next line.
Words importing the plural includes the singular.
What does the word plural mean?
Singular.
See that? So, it means exactly the opposite what we've been trained and talked about. It means exactly the opposite.
Is that like positive and negative?
Do what now?
I said, would that be also related to positive and negative? So they say plural is one side and singular is on the other side.
No, it didn't say that. But what it says, let me ask you a question, the guy that's talking to me. Sir, are you married?
What is married?
Do you have a wife?
A wife. In the English meaning of wife?
Okay. Do you have a partner?
I don't know what a partner means.
Okay. What that will do, that'll get you in jail. See, they'll put you in jail until you figure it out. But here's what they're saying. So for those of you that have a wife, you have a single wife. She's singular. So in court, they're going to put you on court, and they're going to ask you, do you have a wife? Well, yeah. Does your wife know about the other women? There ain't no other women. See, you just lied, because singular means plural. So you're up there and you're trying to defend something that has nothing to do with why you're there. Then what they're going to do is they're going to beat you. They're going to beat your brains out, because then they're going to say, "Well, does all those women know about your wife? What women? Well, didn't you say you had a singular wife? Well, yeah, that means plural. So what you're doing is you're saying, well, no, that's not what I mean. Well, what I mean about, so what happens is the Internal Revenue Service's glossary page, even though it's speaking in English, has perverted or bastardized their own language to a condition you don't know what they're saying. So you're going to go there and you're going to agree, you're going to confess to something that has nothing to do with you whatsoever. See, now that's why we have to be careful. Now let's read the next line.
Words importing the masculine gender include the feminine as well.
So if you have a wife and you're a man, and they ask you, are you married to a male or a female? And you say female, that means a man. So now you're defending. No. Now you're defending something again. You can't defend. It's undefendable on the grounds you ain't got a clue. What they're saying is you have more than one partner, and at least one of them partners is a man. and the vice versa if you're a woman. So you're up there and you're saying, no, that's not true. You're up there trying to prove to them, and you got to understand something. The jury's looking at you like, boy, this guy's a real nut job. See? So if you don't even know whether you're married, to whom, how many, what sex, if you don't know that, how in the world, why shouldn't you go to jail for not filing a tax return, whether you're supposed to or not? So we have to understand what they're doing so we can do a countermeasure against that. Now read the next one, if you will.
Words used in the present tense include the future as well as the present.
So, the present means the future. So, did you file a 1040 50 years ago? Yeah. Then that means you have to do it now. See, that's not what that means. The future doesn't mean the present. Because when I was 15, I could run track. I can't now. So does that mean that because I could run it then, I can run it now? That's not what it means. But that's what it means to them. So what they do, this is nothing but pure deceit. Now, if you will, read the next line. What's happening is, before we go to the next line, I'm going to ask you a question, sir. If I hit you on top of the head with a hammer, would that hurt?
Which head?
The one above your shoulders. If I hit you with a hammer on the head on your shoulders, if I hit you with a hammer that I bought from Home Depot, a 9-pound sledgehammer, and I hit it between the eyes, would it hurt?
Of course.
Okay, now you just shot yourself in the foot, because I'm going to ask somebody else, if I hit you in the head, would it hurt them? They're going to say what?
Which head?
See, the question is, to whom? Now you're making me tell you, well, your head, you. Now, yes. See, in other words, the question that was asked, if I hit you, or if I poke you in the eye, would that hurt?
Your eye?
Now, if I poke you in the eye, would that hurt? If I poke you in the eye, would it hurt?
What eye will you poke?
Your left eye. I put my right finger in your left eye. Would it hurt?
Who is your?
Okay. When you look in the mirror, that's you. Now, what's going to happen is the prosecuting attorney is going to say, the guy's so dumb, he don't even know whether it would hurt him or not. See, that wasn't the question. Now you're on the defense again. See, I'm never on defense. If you poke me in the eye, would it hurt? My answer is, hurt whom? You're going to have to tell me. Well, would it hurt Bob? I don't know, ask Bob. Well, would it hurt you? Yes. Now I've got them in the box that I want. Anytime they talk about poking in the eye, they're talking about me. Now I've got them. Doesn't that make sense? That's what they're saying here. Singular means plural. Plural means singular. Man means woman. Woman means man. They're telling you everything is opposite. So we got to be careful of that. Now let's read the next. Let's read the next line.
The words insane and insane person shall include every idiot, insane person, and person non compos mentis.
Okay, now you see where the judge says, well, if you don't answer the question, I'm going to take you in for a mental evaluation. See, he's admitting to you. Hold on one second. He's admitting to you that this is where he's getting it. And so what's happening is we're trying to answer a question that we're asked. See? And you want to answer it honestly. And when you try to, when you try to answer it honestly, You can't, because they're not asking you to be honest. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to answer a question, to lie, so they can hang you. Then you'll admit you did something because of your answer. Then you're going to sit there and say, I don't even know what I just did. They don't care. Our system is built on they get paid when you go to jail. Our system's not built on right and wrong. It's built on they go to jail. When you go to jail, they get paid more money. So their whole intentions is to put you in jail. So if you go to jail, they make more money. So that's why the language is like it is. Now, let's read the next line, if you will.
The words person and whoever include corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals.
Okay, I have a friend of mine, whoever. Do you know whoever?
No.
Okay. Do you know what a Chevrolet is?
No.
Okay, so you're telling me you don't know what a Chevrolet is. Now, you better be careful, because I'm going to back into the corner and I'm going to put you in jail. I get paid to put you in jail, not to see where the truth is. I'll ask you one more time. Do you know what a Chevrolet is? See, this isn't easy. It's designed this way.
It's not easy at all.
That's right.
Quick Chevrolet. Or what is a Chevrolet?
Okay, a Chevrolet is a pickup truck made by General Motors. Do you know what a Chevrolet pickup truck is? If you tell me, I know you know. So if you don't tell me, I'll just put you in jail. And I just got paid, and it only took me 20 minutes. I'm the hero. They might even they might give me twice as much money. Okay, by your silence, you just bought yourself 120 days. You just got 6 months in the federal penitentiary. That's how they do it. See? So while you're in prison, we're going to go ahead and see. You'll lose your job. You're going to. It's over for you. That's what they do. So the question is, you know what a Chevrolet is? Yes. What is it? It's a car. Where are they made? Well, they're made in General Motors. What's General Motors? It's a corporation. Now, it's a corporation. Read what whoever is again. Read that one again for me.
The word person and whoever include corporations. Companies.
Stop right there. Stop right there. See? It's a corporation. It's a company. So you lied to the court. You're going to prison for perjury. See? It's not easy. This is how they set it up. It's set up this way on purpose. So no, if you say yes, you go to jail. If you say no, you go to jail. If you say, I don't know, you go to jail. If you stand silent, you go to jail. See? It's not set up to punish those that are guilty and let those that are not guilty go. That's not what it's for. It's for you to go to jail so they can control everything. And that's what I'm trying to show you. Let's read the next line.
Officer includes any person authorized by law to perform the duties of the office.
What's the first name of every policeman that's ever pulled you over, you ever talked to, ever heard of? What's the first name of every policeman?
Officer.
Okay. Now, it does not say there that he's there to administer the law. It says he's there to administer whatever the office. So, if he works for the county of, he works for the city of, he works for the township of, and his job description is raise money. Well, how do I do that? Give tickets. Give people tickets for wearing T-shirts in the summer, for wearing sweatshirts in the winter. They're going to tell him how to make money. That's his job. See, his job is to make money for the county. How does he do that? Writes tickets. Doesn't matter if he did it or not, because once you get the tickets, you have to defend it. They're going to ask you questions in the courthouse on questions that they're asking you. Well, you know what singular is? Yes, it's one. Check, you're done. You're going to jail. You're going to pay the fine. See, in other words, the system is built up that way. Why doesn't it say every officer is there to enforce for law enforcement? See, in other words, wouldn't you think a policeman was there, an officer was there to enforce the law? Isn't he part of law enforcement? No, he's not. He's there to push what his office tells him to do. So if he's part of the sheriff's department tells him what they want. If he's part of a city, the city tells him what to do. And you can bet, I don't know this, I've never been in one, they always say, I'm in law enforcement. So I always question, what law do you enforce? See? Well, I enforce the county's law. Oh, now we got a problem. See, because the county's law says that I can't carry whatever. But so what's the supreme law of the land? See, the supreme law of the land says I can worship any way I want. Yet the county says you can't go to church on Sundays because of COVID. So if you go to church, there was a time when they stopped us from going to church because of COVID. Now you go to church, and our church are running half size. If they got to run more, we got to run more services to get the same amount of people because they're telling the church what to do. The other problem is my First Amendment says I have a right to worship the way I want to. So what I want is I want my pastor to get in front of me and say, don't vote for Billy, he's a skunk. Vote for Mary, she's the one we want. But we can't do that because the officer will come and arrest him or put a fine on the church, or in other words, they're telling me how I can worship in the worship place that I've chosen as my First Amendment. And it goes back to this sheet right here. Does anybody, before we go any further, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, it looks like there's no way to win then.
But good news, I'm going to show you how to win tonight. I'm going to show you how to defend against this.
Great.
Okay, let's read the next one.
Signature or subscription includes a mark when the person making the same intended it as such.
Okay, so if a judge puts a dot on a piece of paper, tell me what that is.
It's a mark.
Okay, so let's read it again so you understand. You're correct. It's his mark. Let's read that one again so we understand what you said.
Signature or subscription includes a mark when the person...
Stop. So it's his signature. So a dot on a piece of paper is a mark. That's his signature if he chooses to do so. See how bizarre this is? Well, I'm going to fight this until I get original blue ink signature from the judge. All you got to do is put a dot on a piece of paper and hand it to you. That's his signature. We're trying to get something we can't have. I know. This is what I mean. They've got this so boogered up. This is what the IRS is using on us. If we understand that, we can build a defense against it. Now let's finish reading it.
Oath includes affirmation, and sworn includes affirmed.
Okay, hold back up. Back up to the one that says about the mark. We haven't finished that one.
Okay. Do you want me to read it over again?
Yeah, just read that one over again. Yeah.
Signature or subscription includes a mark when the person making the same intended it as such.
Keep going.
Oath includes affirmation, and sworn includes affirmed.
Okay.
Writing includes printing and typewriting and reproductions of visual symbols by photographing, multigraphing, mimeographing, manifolding, or otherwise.
Okay, so you get a dot on a piece of paper. We've already agreed the judge puts a dot. That's his signature. He copies it on a copier 25 times. You get the 25th generation of the signature on the paper. Tell me what that is.
This is his signature.
But it's his original blue ink signature because it said right there, writing is a mark, and it can be copied, manifolded, whatever, or any other whatever. So if the judge puts a dot on a piece of paper and he copies it, he goes before he starts court, he goes back and puts a dot on the piece of paper and runs off 25 of them, sits in there and lays it there. All he has to do is pass them out. You lost before you got there because he put a dot on a piece of paper and he run off his thing. He's got 25, 35, 50, 100 already run off before you even start your case.
Yeah.
Hands it to you. Well, I want to see a blue ink signature. Go put him in jail. See, that's not an argument we can win. So we have to build an argument. We have to build a defense against this kind of nonsense. It would be like this. You go see your doctor, and you tell your doctor, I'm not feeling well. Well, what's the matter with you? I'm not going to tell you. Okay? Where does it hurt? I'm not going to tell you. I want a prescription. Well, what do you want me to write it for? I'm not going to tell you. Well, how in the world can he help you if you won't tell him something? See, they don't have to tell us anything. All they have to do is sit in there and drink coffee, look at other pieces of paper coming through, signing other stuff. When it's all done, he's going to hand you an order that was pre-signed 3 weeks ago because he knew you were coming, and they make them all out. He just put it down on a piece of paper and copied 25, hands it to you. See, we have to understand this. This is what they're using. Now, was that the last one?
Yes, that's the last one.
Okay. Now that we've gone through that, now that we understand that, does anybody have any questions? Because I get a lot of questions during the week about this particular section. Does anybody have a question that I can try to answer for you?
So, can I say, is this like when they say it's a military way, so there's no way out, and you are just stuck?
No, there's a way out. See, the way out is you tried it with me at the beginning. You tried it with me. See that? Now, what the way out is, now I'm going to ask you a question, and you know, I want you to answer the question as careful and as honest as you can. What color is a blue shirt? Okay, if you don't answer it, I'll just put you in jail. I still got what I want. See, go ahead.
Which blue shirt?
The one that you're wearing. If it was blue, what color would it be? Okay, since you didn't answer me, we'll get you 120 days. We'll come back in 120 days and ask you again. I get paid twice. See, now ask me the same question. I answer everything this way. I'm going to show you how you neuter this particular kind of question. Ask me the same question.
Which color?
No, I didn't say which. They're never going to ask you which. They're going to ask you what color.
What color is the shirt that you are wearing now?
Okay, again, see what you did? You gave that one to me. That's not what was asked. I'm going to ask you again. What color is a blue shirt? See, you didn't get, what color's the blue shirt? I'll give you one more chance. I'll give you 5 seconds. Otherwise, you go to prison for 120 days. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you almost did. Now, ask me the same question. What color is the blue shirt? I'm going to show you how you protect yourself.
What color is the blue shirt?
Thank you for asking. To whom? Okay, Your Honor, since he didn't ask me, I want that question dismissed from this hearing. They got to do it because see, to whom? So who do you want? What color's the blue shirt? To whom? Now you better answer me, or I'll have the question thrown out. They can't use that question again.
The blue shirt you are wearing. The blue shirt
you see what you're doing? Okay, you're not getting it. The blue shirt that I'm wearing is blue because you just told me it was blue. See? But I asked you what color is the blue shirt? To whom? To you. Now I got them. Oh, the blue shirt to me? I don't see blue. I can see green and yellow. So it's either green or it's yellow because I can't tell the difference. I don't see blue. He doesn't know that. As soon as I pin him down, I make them define what they're asking, and then I can protect myself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
See?
It requires a lot of education and practice.
Say that again?
I say it requires a lot of education and practice.
Well, it does, but it also takes, you got to listen to how they're asking the questions. The problem is we want to ask questions. We want to answer a question they didn't ask. See, are you married? Yes, my wife's name is, I got 3 children, I live in this, and you go on. That ain't what they ask you. Are you married? Thank you for asking. What, married to what? Well, you know. No, I don't know. Because I was told as a kid, well, I'm married to my job and I can't get off. Well, there's married. See, I don't know what they're talking about. So I make them define every word they ask. Are you married? I'm glad you asked. To what? What do you mean to what? What do I mean? I don't know. You're the one that asked the question. What do you mean? See, I make them, well, you're married to your wife. Well, I have to be married to my wife. Unless you're married to my wife, and then she's got 2 husbands, providing I have a wife. See, I make them define it. Well, you're married to a woman? I don't know. I'm married to, see? In other words, see, it's so confusing that by the time I'm done running them around the room, they have to dismiss the case because they don't know where they're at either. But what I try to do is show you, see, now, what state do you live in right now? What state are you in right now, sir?
Virginia.
Okay. In Texas, we say y'all. What do you say in Virginia?
You.
Okay. Y'all means that I expose myself to my grandmother and my mother. Is that what you mean?
I'm listening.
See? So what you should have said is, I don't know, we don't say that, so what does y'all mean? Then when I tell you, then you could say, oh, we say you. See, you answered it before you even knew what it meant. See?
That's the issue.
I know it is.
More and more.
See, we're not trained that way. We're trained to tell the truth. We're trained to listen. We're trained to answer the question that's asked. But you got to understand something. They're asking you a question they're not asking, so they get the answer they want to a question that's not asked. That's what they do. See? Does that make sense?
Yes.
See, when I got indicted, they were there 9.5 hours. They asked 750 questions. I had 746 of them dismissed because when they would ask me, I'd tell them to define it, and they would, Your Honor, since they don't know what they're asking, I want that question struck from the record. He struck it from the record. When we were done, I was there 9.5 hours. They only had 4 questions that they could use to indict me. They had nothing. They couldn't indict me because they didn't have enough to indict me on the grounds. Everything they asked me was so. See, I understood this. This is just now. Let me ask you one more question, okay? I make the best ham and cheese omelet in the state of Texas. I want to come to Virginia and I want to make you one. When I'm done with it, nothing will ever compare to this. How many eggs do you want me to put in your omelet so I will know how much ham to put in it? Okay, by your silence, you don't eat eggs. That's all I can figure. See? How many eggs do you want me to put in your ham and cheese omelet?
None.
Okay, so then you just want the ham and cheese. See, you're always on defense. I'm never on defense. Ask me the same question so I can show you how to answer it.
How many eggs do you want in your ham and cheese?
Thank you for asking. What kind of eggs? Since you don't know, you're full of horse manure. Your Honor, I want that question dismissed. I want that struck from the record. He's asking me a question he didn't even know. See, if you don't tell me what kind of eggs, I don't know. If you're using ostrich eggs, one ostrich egg is the same as 11. Chicken eggs, I'll take 2. If you're using robin eggs, I'll take 12. If you're using alligator eggs, I only want 2. See, you didn't tell me what kind of eggs. That's how you beat them right there. How many eggs you want in your ham and cheese omelet? Well, I'll take 3. Okay, we're using ostrich eggs. Oh, well, I don't want 3. Well, you said 3. Now you're going to perjure yourself. They don't care how they get you in jail. That's what they do. Doesn't that make sense?
It does.
See? Now that I beat that guy up too much, does anybody else have something I can help them with? Do you have a question?
Well, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. That's my pleasure. Thank you for being for reading that for me. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? The best way to do this is just read this stuff and kind of try to think about it. Don't obsess yourself with it, but take and print Title I, Section 1 and kind of read it. Get familiarized with it, because you'll see what happens when the police pulls you over. Do you know why I pulled you over? I always say, yeah. Why? Because I'm handsome? I have no idea. See, why would I know how you pulled me over? See, if I would have been you, I wouldn't have pulled me over. See, once they ask me a question, we have to answer that question. Instead of saying, no, I had no idea. Was I speeding? See, you know why I pulled you over? Well, I was doing 60 and a 50, and I didn't really mean to. I kind of got, so we're confessing to everything. He's going to say, no, you're going 70. I had you clocked at 70, but I'll give you the ticket for 60. You know, he confessed it. He's got it on his body cam. That's just what we do. We got to stop doing that. So, does somebody here that?
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay, before we do it, I want to do it. I want to hear you. But let me ask you a question first. Do you file a 1040?
No.
Why?
Where does it say that I have to file a 1040?
Okay, in 7701B1 says you have to file the 1040. So why don't you file it?
Well, I've never seen that before.
I don't care what you saw. You said it didn't say it. It does. Your Honor, I want that man to do 90 days. We'll come back in 90 days. See what you did? So I'm going to still get to your question, no problem. Ask me the same question.
Do you file a 1040?
See, it doesn't matter what I say as long as I can defend it. No, I don't.
Why don't you file?
Because under the Paper Reduction Act, Privacy Act notice, in the IRS's own manual, it forbids me from it.
Okay.
See? It doesn't say that. Well, let me read it to you. And I read it to them. They had to ask me 3 times to get the answer, and then I'm able to close the door on that because I led them down the path I wanted to go. I'm not going to stand and say, well, no, I don't, because there's nowhere in the whole thing that says I have to. Well, I'm going to get to your question, but just give me a second. Title 26 is Title 26 is 14,000 pages. So, you're telling me in that 14,000 pages it doesn't tell you to follow 1040. Is that what you're telling me? How many times have you read it, sir?
0.
Okay, so you're telling me you've read it 0, and you're going to tell me it doesn't say it. Your Honor, 6904 1B1G says he has to file a 1040. What are you going to do? Well, I didn't know. Well, now you know. Start filing it today. You go to prison. Yes, sir. I'll do it. I'll have it done tomorrow. See what you did? In other words, what you did was you made a comment you can't defend. So I don't care what they ask me. I'm able to defend everything that's asked. Now go ahead and ask your questions. And don't take it. If I made you mad, don't take it that way, because that's not what I'm doing. Go ahead.
I've been listening to you for years. I don't take it personal.
Okay.
Don't worry. I thought that you've asked me that one before. I thought that it says you have to file a returner statement, so I was heading down that road.
Okay, wait a minute. It does say returner statement, but I didn't ask you that. What did I ask you?
If I had to file it, or if I file a 1040.
And you said no. It doesn't say I have to. See, here, before you get to your question,
I made it about me.
There you go. There's several things you never use. Never use an adjective. Never say they, them, this, us, me, I. Never use that. Let me tell you a quick story, and then you tell me what I did, and then we'll get to your. Then I'm going to get to your question. I went to them. They let me use this. I took this to they, and they were okay with it. What did I do?
You wrote a story?
No, I didn't. I told you the truth. See, in other words, we're letting them get it to us. They write stuff like our, they, them, and I hear this all the time. They'll call me on the phone and say, "Well, I have a court order. I have a court hearing today with them." Well, I'll go talk to my next door neighbor, Mary and Bill them, and see why you got a court order with them. I don't get it. Well, I don't mean. See, in other words, we can't do that. So never use an adjective, an adverb. Never use. In other words, if it says, "I went to the grocery store," I went to Kroger's, I went to Albertsons, I went to Safeway. See, now there's no way they can say they can't understand it any other way. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, and you'd have to define who I is, and
there. See, because once you do that, they're going to come back and say, "They didn't say that. I know they didn't. Mary Lou said that." See, I got something I can defend. Now, go ahead and ask your question.
I've already dealt with the whole court federal tax court situation.
Good.
I've got that back. It took a whole year to get it back. They're not mailing you your certified copies anymore. For anybody else new to this, they are emailing them to you. So it's a lot cheaper, and you can print off as many as you want. So got that part all taken care of. But I'm up in Wisconsin, and I've got to deal with state taxes. Have you dealt with helping anybody up in Wisconsin state tax before?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Now, when you say you're up in Wisconsin, and see, you just did that to me. You're dealing with Wisconsin taxes. Okay. Does Wisconsin have property taxes?
Yes.
Does Wisconsin have sales tax?
Yes.
Does Wisconsin have gas tax?
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you how to fix your gas tax. Don't buy any.
Sure.
Next.
Sure.
See what you did? You just did. Well, what about Wisconsin taxes? Well,
to be more specific, Wisconsin income tax.
There you go. What kind of taxes are you talking about in Wisconsin?
Income taxes.
Now let me tell you what I'm doing. Go online and get the Wisconsin taxes. Now in Michigan it's called an M1. In Pennsylvania it's called a P1040. Then go through the book and read the book. It's going to take a little research. In there it's going to say your income taxes for Wisconsin are based on your federal taxes.
Yeah, I've got it right here. I can read it to you, actually.
All right, read it to us so I can read it to us so I can see how to deal with it.
I'm on page 4 here. This is the 2019 Wisconsin income tax instruction booklet. And on page 4, it says filing your return. Preparing to file. Before filing your return, follow the steps below in order listed. Number 1, gather your records. Number 2, electronic filing versus paper filing. And then number 3, I'll read this whole line. Complete federal return. Complete your federal return and its supporting schedules. However, this is the part that kind of threw me off. If you are not required to file a federal return, list the sources and amounts of your income and deductions on a separate sheet.
Okay, now you just got it. Read that one, go back 2 and read it to me first, and I'm going to show you what I did.
Okay, records, number 3, complete federal return?
No, the records, right?
Okay, gather your records.
Now, what I would do, do you see how, okay, I want you to tell me what a record is.
Could be a lot of things.
Ain't that something? When I graduated high school, in my little hometown, I still have the record for one track and field. My name is still on the board. After 50 years, it has never been broken. So I take a picture of that and say, here's the record. Bam! And I send it off. See, I'm not going to make a decision. I refuse to make a decision. So what I would do is I would write the letter and I would say, I'm confused. I'm not an attorney. The records you're talking about, would it be the federal income tax records? Are Wisconsin income taxes based on the federal income taxes as defined in your book, page 3, line so-and-so, enclosed and highlighted for your convenience? If you refuse to answer the question, your answer will be then construed as, this year, I'm not allowed to file it. When they come back, and you got to stay on them, they'll come back and say, yes. Now, you have a court order saying that they didn't have jurisdiction. So the question is, if the feds don't have, in other words, you don't get it. If I say to you, okay, now I'm going to say something to you, and I want you to defend this. You're in court, and I make the statement, I'm the prosecuting attorney. I'm trying to have you put in prison. The judge is on my side, and I make this comment, and I make it very clear to the court. This is the dumbest Wisconsin individual in Wisconsin. Now, you defend that.
You're right. I'm actually dumber than that.
Okay, you could do it that way. Or a better way to do it would be, what proof do you have that I'm the dumbest? And then sit down. That way we don't have to defend it. So what you do is you write a letter to them saying, I'm not an attorney, I'm confused. See, they'll come back to you, well, hire. See, they told me in a few places, well, hire a CPA, not a problem. They want $972 to do it. Who do I invoice? See, I changed the subject now. Well, we're not going to pay it. Well, if you're not going to pay it, you can't make me work for free because that would be slavery. Now, I'm going to run off and I'm going to be a complete idiot that way. See, so what you do is, I'm confused. I'm not an attorney. I don't understand. Here's what it says in the book, page 8, highlighted and enclosed for your convenience. It makes this statement. Get your records. Do those records coincide with my federal income taxes? And then you just go through and answer that and send it in. Don't give them your court order. Wait till they come back and say yes. Then when they do, you say, okay, well, no. Okay, then I'm confused, so you must be confused. They will eventually say yes. Then you say, okay, if the feds does not have jurisdiction, how did you get it? I don't care what they say. I'm not going to make that decision. Because then if you have to sue Wisconsin, how do you eat an elephant, by the way?
One bite at a time.
So if you write 6 letters and you get 6 bites, you need 10 to have a slam dunk. But if you have 6, that's pretty darn good. See what I'm saying? So you've got 6 bites now. When you go there, you're going to ask the judge, I'm trying my best to fill my income taxes out. And I talked to a CPA, and the CPA wants to know, well, I got one that'll do it for $500. Then you pay them. See, in other words, you got to be careful how you word it. See, so what you do is you get them to refuse to do anything. Then I go ahead and file a suit against them in state court on the grounds. I'm trying to do my income taxes. They won't let me. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And I imagine you could use your Form 1020 in this process, or it has the entire process as well.
Yes, you could. See, you could sit there and say, okay, I'm writing this letter using the form this Form 1020, so you can check the boxes that prefer. Now, you would take that stuff, you just build it. It's in Word. You can change it to anything you want. Then do a cover letter. I'm trying my best to do my income taxes. I'm ready, willing, and able to do it. But there's a couple things I don't understand. Are you saying, and then put federal income, and then make it to where what you want to do is you want to have it set up. Maybe not use the form. Maybe just use the cover letter. Maybe use both. But what you have to do is you have to ask them. And I get a lot of mileage because what happens is I never know anything. I'm this guy that's an idiot. I'm trying to do it. I want to comply. See, and I throw things in there like I'm a law-abiding. I'm trying to follow the law, but I don't understand it. See, if I don't understand it, you're asking me to do something I don't understand. So therefore, I'm asking you to clarify one thing, 2 things. And you're refusing to do it, so apparently you don't know it either. So since you don't know and I don't know it, neither one of us would know what's right or wrong. See, so I always throw it back on them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the bottom line is of course you would want to do this a good, solid administrative procedure with affidavits of mailing and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is to get the default in the process.
And then see, when you go, the states are tough because the states will take your money out of the bank in a heartbeat. So what I'm starting to do, see, is I'm dealing with the bank. I'm dealing with the bank up front. See, we're dealing with the bank up front, and we're getting bank accounts, checking accounts without Social Security numbers.
That is very interesting.
Why?
I would very much so enjoy that as well. I would love to know how you do that.
Well, now remember, if I can get somebody that asks me, I'll tell them. But I'm not going to just stand here and vomit on you.
Sure. Would you mind sharing with us, Terry, how you achieve a checking account without a Social Security number?
Okay. I go to the bank. When I get to the bank, I'm always kind, okay? I don't go in there and say, you sons of bitches, because that doesn't work. You go in there and you ask the bank.
Lies, all lies.
I'm on my call here. So when you go to the bank, you ask the bank, can I open an account? They're going to say, of course, yes. I print the United States the United States Constitution, what is it? The First Amendment. Do you know what the First Amendment of the Constitution is?
Right, assemble, right, freedom of speech, right to practice any religion.
Okay, there's the biggie. Then I go to the estate and print the state amendment that has the religion in there also. So when I go to the bank, I ask the bank, do you have a legal department? And they're going to give it to you. You know why? Well, whatever. they're going to give it to you. Is it in-house or do you use Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe on the end of the corner down there? They'll tell you what it is. Once they tell you what it is, now you've got what you need. There's your bites of the elephant. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you say, they'll ask you your first name. You tell them. Middle name, you tell them. You tell them your last name, your address, because you got to have that. Give me your ID. I use a passport because I don't have a driver's license. Then they're going to ask you for your Social Security number. Then I say, oh, I can't use that. Then they're going to say, well, then we can't do it. Oh, so it's your bank policy to discriminate against a person's religion, color, creed, and sexual orientation. Is that what I heard you say? Tell me what they say.
I can only imagine. What do they say?
Okay. No, it's not. So now I've already got all the legal stuff I need. Then I get up and I leave. I get the lady's name and I call the home office. And I say, I was trying to open an account today and the bank discriminated against me for my sexual orientation, my color, my creed, and my religion. And now I've got a religious argument, not a Social Security argument. Does that make sense? So they're going to fight you hard on it. Now, what would be good is print out the Truth in Lending and then print out the Regulation Z. Regulation Z is the bank, basically what the bank can and can't do, and get everything that you need to get prepared for it. And then what happens is if you have to be ready to file a lawsuit against the bank for violating your First Amendment and your State Amendment. Does that make sense?
Totally, yeah.
Okay, so I don't do it. I don't do it because it's a Social Security thing. They won't give it to me because it's my religion. See, and then I tell them my religion says that the Social Security is the mark of the beast and we're forbidden to use it. And then I just let them see what they're going to say. Then all of a sudden, well, our bank policy. Now does the bank policy trump your First Amendment, which is the supreme law of the land? And then from that moment on, everything I talk to them about, what the supreme law of the land says, 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 the supreme law of the land says. And now it's a First Amendment problem. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
Just one. I remember listening back a while back ago. You said you were helping some family out with Michigan. I was just wondering, basically, I'm kind of wondering what might I expect to, going up front with dealing with the state taxes, and especially, I don't know if you have a whole lot of experience with dealing with Wisconsin.
Absolute war.
That's kind of what I figured.
Absolute war. The states are. You think the IRS are teddy bears? They play compared to the states.
That's pretty much what I hear. I don't hear very many people calling with a whole lot of success stories from dealing with the state income tax.
But see, the reason for it is, here's the real problem that you're having. How often, let me just give you an insight, how often are your income taxes and property taxes for the state due? How often are they due?
Annually.
Okay, so if you get them in January the 1st and you start March the 31st, you've already let 3 months go by. It's not, the ball's in their court. You already know it's coming. It comes every year. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
So if you start now, time's on your side, because you're going to have the cycles that you need. You're going to have 11 months, 13 months to let everything go. That way, when soon as they send you your income tax in the mail, you can file the lawsuit that day. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. Where the problem comes in Texas, we have the same problem. In January, they send out the statements. If you don't pay it by February, the end of February, they start a lawsuit against you. Well, we wait until they start the lawsuit, and then we're trying to defend it. I don't defend. Because I don't defend, I have a lot better success. The best thing for you to do is do what you always do because you've already let your time lapse. Start next year's now. Does that make sense?
Yes. That
way, any pitfalls you have along the way, you can learn them. And it might take a couple of years because you got to understand something. I don't think like no one else. So I'm showing you an offensive move that doesn't look right for some reason. But rather than waiting until next year in February, when you've got 2 days, you can't get anything done in 2 days. Because on the third day, they're going to file their paperwork, and they've already got it all streamlined. See, they've already done this 10,000, 200,000, 300 million times, whatever. See, does that make sense?
Yeah, they're really good at this, right?
Okay, that's because they built the system. So what you need to do in Michigan is a forms state. Everything that you do, if you want to file a lawsuit against a neighbor for a barking dog, they have a barking dog form. They have 40,000 forms or something like that. If you want to file a lawsuit because your neighbor drives a white car, they got a white car, next door neighbor's white car form. I mean, they have a form for everything. See, I don't know how it is there. Find out the court you're going to go to. See, this is going to take going to take you a little time. But what you need to do is find out, since it's a state income tax, it's going to be a state court. Now, in Texas, we have JPs, Justice of the Peace, then we have county, then we have, or municipals, they're pretty much the same, then we have state, then we have state district. See, in other words, which one do you need to be at? Which one do you file it from? You can't learn that in 3 days. So you should start right now finding it out, get any forms you need. Some of the courthouses has you plaintiff versus defendant. Then all you do is fill it in. Okay, go online and download it. Then you can fill it in, handwrite it. Then you can type it in. In other words, get everything ready to go. Get your lawsuit ready to write. Write that thing ready to go. Then when you step to do it, you strike first. You get into the punch first. You're in court first. You pay. Do you see what I'm going? You're now. Now time is on your side. But the states, see, the states invented what to do. So what you have to do is learn what they do. Once you learn what they do, get all of your forms ready. Get them all filled out because it comes every year. See what I'm saying? And all you got to do is click them one time, and they don't want you anymore.
So basically, just start small, make it look almost innocent, like I'm legitimately asking questions that I don't have no possible answer to, and
that's correct.
And maybe hopefully they start shuffling my my mailings under the carpet so that I can get a default.
Well, you will get one because they're not going to answer you. But the problem is, by the time you get your default, they're going to have you in court because this is already February. It's the 26th. So in 4 days or 5 days, it's going to be February. You've already had 31 days going past. February is only 29 days. See, in other words, so you got 30 days. You're going to be into March. See, they're already going to be in court. And you haven't got you got to give them a reasonable time. You got to give them at least 30 days. They don't have to give you 30 days. Do you see the problem? You're already behind the 8 ball. So the best thing to do is if you're going to do it, know what you're doing. In fact, go to the court. Go to the court that does that. Sit in the court. You can sit in there as a spectator. Bring your pad. Sit in the court and watch what they do. What are the questions that the prosecutor asks? He's going to give you, well, Wisconsin versus so-and-so. Write that down so you can look it up and have that. And they're going to say, well, according to this, see, they're going to, well, this statute or this ordinance says, you write all that down. See, and what's going to happen is that right there. When I did my first lawsuit, I went to the courthouse every day. It was something I found out in Texas. JP, municipal, county, and state do the same thing at the same time, exactly verbatim, every single time. So what I had to figure out what they were doing, so I've now got a defense against that. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that they'll let people to sit in the courtroom right now during the COVID deal, but...
Well, I understand that we're at a disadvantage there, I agree. But if you go over there with the mask, asking for permission, they might let you. But again, I'm not saying they will. And you may be right, see, because this is severe damage. See, the point I'm trying to make to you is you can't learn what you need to learn and activate what you have to do in the time that you have left this year. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I haven't filed my state income taxes since 2015 was the last year I filed for them. So.
Okay. See, so they're already got 4 years on you.
Yeah, right.
See, and so then what you can do is under the federal system, I can tell you what income is defined in the federal system. They define it for you. When you ask, can you help me out? According to the feds, this is the definition of income. That's what I use on my. Is that what you use here? See? Well, no, that ain't. Okay, then what is it? Well, yeah, that we'll use. Okay, then. In other words, see, I just constantly I bombard them to where they. See, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So eventually they'll stop sending you stuff, and you'll gain. You're looking for a default, right? Is that right?
I'm looking for whatever. I don't know. I'm just looking for whatever I need.
Okay.
See, in other words, you have to know what they're doing. See, Texas does it slightly different than the federal is the federal, but the states are slightly different. See, Texas is a community property state. So if I don't file something that I'm supposed to file, then they'll take it on my life. Texas doesn't have an income tax here, so we don't do a state tax. See?
Are there some states that are easier than others? Or are they all just follow or?
Well, a lot of them are easier than others. Some are easier than others. See, California is probably one of the hardest. See? And
sure.
What else you can look for, you know what else you need to look for, is look for a Supreme Court case, Wisconsin versus so-and-so, and that will tell you what, then it will tell you what find somebody that wanted it. Somebody wanted it in your state, and then when you find it out, get that case, get it shepherdized, they'll tell you, and shepherdizing, and like I said, see, learn how to do it. Learn as much as you can. That way when you step into that arena. So they used to have a television show called Joes versus Pros. These are kids or young guys that thought they could beat the pros. And they would go out there with they would have a pitcher that would throw the baseball to a guy that played high school baseball. He'd throw the ball at 105 miles an hour. The guy couldn't even see it. See, this is what we're up against. We're pros, and we're not. But they created the system, so they got shortcuts and specialty teams they can get away with. We can't. So you figure out all those pitfalls. Then you have a chance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I probably don't want this to extend too long because, like you say, as soon as I poke the bear here and send them something, because I haven't received anything from Wisconsin income taxes at all yet so far. So that's another reason. As soon as I poke the bear, they're probably going to want to file a suit on me.
Well, like I said, you're. I can't tell you that, but that's just my opinion, and that's my experience. Okay. Does anybody else have a question?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Gary. By the way, appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Does anybody have a question that we can ask?
Yes. You brought up the Paper Production Act earlier, and I just wanted to clarify something. I've been reading it.
Hold on a second. Okay. Yes. Go ahead. Okay.
So the Paper Production Act reads, our legal right to ask or information is in Internal Revenue Code 6001, 6011, and, oh, I know, it's feedback. Okay, I got it.
6012A and their regulations.
And their regulations. They say that you must file a return or statement with us for any reason, for any tax that is liable for you.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
See?
Okay.
It doesn't say 1040. It says a return.
No, it says. But it says a statement. I'm sorry, I don't know what's causing that. Your response is mandatory under these sections.
No, it says we must tell you. No, it says we must tell you if your it is mandatory or not. I think if you read, are you looking at it right now?
Yes, I'm reading it.
Okay.
It says.
Okay. Read it. It says.
Okay.
There's
a beep here that makes me hard. Is it annoying you? I don't know what kind. Okay, they say you must file a return or statement with us for any tax you are liable for. Your response is mandatory under these sections. Code section 6109 requires you must, and that's the identification. 6109 is the identification. You have to put in the Social Security number.
Do you see the problem there?
Well, when you usually read it, you stop right at return or statement with us for any tax, and you don't really say the tax is liable. And you have to assume you're liable for a tax to actually file some return or a statement.
That's right.
Yeah.
What you have to understand is I read everything raw. I won't put anything in it. It says you can file a return or statement with us for the tax that's liable. Okay? Now, if I'm liable for a tax, I'm going to tell them eat shit and die. Now, I'm done because that's what it says. If they owe me money, I'm going to fill out the form that they can't eat. I don't care what it is because there's about 12 different types of returns. If you have to do them all, file the one that they pay you. It doesn't say you have to file a return or statement. It says you have to file a return or statement with us, okay, for any tax due. Well, if I don't have tax due, then I don't have to do anything.
Okay. Well, that's because of the three codes, 6001, 6011, and 6012, 12A. And then it quotes this other code because that's a legal right, but then they quote right away. Their code section 6109, which I found interesting because that's not the legal right anymore.
That's right. That's illegal. Now, that becomes illegal. Now, if you would, look up Title 26, 6212. I want you to read the heading on 6212, and this will answer all of your questions.
I'll look it up on my own. I'm not in front of a computer right now. I'm just on the phone.
Okay, that's fine. 6212, if somebody would look that up, Title 26, 6212, I want you to read what it says, and this tells you everything you need to know about the income tax. This will tell you everything there is to know about Title 26. Does anybody else have a question?
Time's up.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Everybody, our next call will be February the 9th.
Did you guys get that? February the 9th.
February the 9th. Thank you for calling tonight.
Yes, thanks
for the call, Kerry. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.